Hi, welcome back. This video is about these things, and you'll see that in a moment when I actually show the footage. It's just an apology really, because when I was filming this, I was doing quite intricate work, and as usual, my head got in the footage quite a lot, and I was experimenting with the macro lens to try and get close in and stuff like that. So it's not the best footage, you know. Some of it's got my head in it, and I've tried to edit it out best I can. So. But I want to keep the footage because I think it's worthwhile showing this, and I can't do it again because I've done them both now. So please bear in mind, not all of it's like that, but some of it has got some dodgy bits in with my big fat head in there. So anyway, on with the footage. Catch you in a bit. Hi, welcome back. Quite like this one actually. It's, I don't know if you're familiar with these parts. There's a company called Iconicair that make these little Rolls Royce badges. They're not red, by the way, when you get them. They're just plain. I've put red paint in so they'll like when I got them. They're great. They're very small. They're basically PE parts, and they're made in two halves actually, well, two layers if you like. There's a backing to it, and then there's a front part to it. So obviously the way it's manufactured, I don't know, they must mill it out somehow. I don't know, it's tiny. I measured these things. They're really small. I think they worked out. Let me just zero it. They're about 13 mil. Near enough. And 13 mil long. And then you've got. Oops, I've got them on camera. About 1.8 wide or something. Now if you look at them, there's a back piece, as I said, and there's a front piece. The back bit's wider than the front part. So the first thing you should do when you fit these, if you do it right, and I didn't when I did it first time, I'll put some still pictures up at the end of this video of the Spitfire I've done with these on, and I just did what everybody else seems to do. They just do the best to clean these up, and then they just stick them on. They just glue them on there. I glue them on the side of these are basically rocker box covers, one on each side of the engine. And they glue them on there with super glue or whatever. Which, to be fair, they look alright, but if you look at the real airplane, go look at any pictures of engines and stuff. Don't look at the Packard Merlins because they're American, they don't have these on at all. But the British ones do. And it's basically a casting, and it's painted. They're very rarely red, to be fair, but modern ones sometimes are, and I think they look really cool in red. So I just paint them red, but sometimes they're just nothing at all, they're just plain, or they might be silver. But I don't know, paint them pink if you want, it doesn't really matter. But basically it's a complete casting, and that Rolls Royce badge is cast into the actual metal. But the casting, where the lettering is, it is flat, but it doesn't stick out a great deal. It's quite a subtle raised surface on the surface of that. This casting, it certainly doesn't stick out like that does. So what I've done basically on this one, well, this was done as a test to see if I could do it. I recessed this badge into the plastic. It's not easy. Now, the way I did this one, I kind of scribed around this. So basically, you get this. You can tell where it needs to go because you look at the feeble attempt that Airfix made to make a badge. Now, you know on earth you're going to get that badge to show up on when you've painted it and what have you. The Rolls Royce bit just disappears, you can't see it, and you certainly can't fill it with paint to show up afterwards. So you have to get that in position, scribe around it, and then carefully nibble out the plastic so until it fits into the slot that you're making. Now you can imagine how tricky that is to do. Now I'm thinking of a better way of doing this, which not necessarily quicker but maybe easier. The bonus to this is you can't really mess it up, because even if you make a mess of it, as long as you don't damage these bolt heads too much, you can always fill the hole and start again, or just not bother, or what have you, or stick them on the top. So what I'm going to do on this video is try and do it a different way but get the same result. And it's hard to, I don't know if you like this or not, you might not see it as important or not, but I like this a lot better, and it looks like a real it looks like it should. I still think the font is too big. I think if you look at a real one, I don't think that writing's anything like as big as that. I might be wrong, but I don't mind that. It's at least you can see it. But, so what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to, the first thing you need to do, if I can try and, I can't show it on video without putting a macro lens, and if I put a macro lens, getting into focus would be a nightmare. So these little, when you get them, they're just, you get like 4 on a sprue there. I already got 4 because I build more than one Spitfire, don't I? So I had 4, and you just, they're on there, and they rock hard. It's like, it's not brass in this, it's like, I don't know what it is really. It's almost like steel, to be fair. So you need to get, when you get them, you'll see that the polished part sits on top of this rougher part underneath, and you need to remove all that rougher part to make it thinner. So you're just left with the polished part behind. Now I'm going to show the start of me doing that, how you can remove it. Where's my nail clippers gone? I don't know. My nail clippers won't do it. I don't think these cut it actually. Can't remember. So I can, yeah, it will get some of it off. These are nail clippers. I'll use them for removing everything from sprues and everything. So try and get those as flat as you can. Get the little swarthy mouldy bits off. Talk amongst yourselves. So cutting those off. So you still end up with some little stubby bits behind. And it's quite hard to hold. So what I do now, I did it last time, I have some of these little pliers and they're just like flat. And a clamp. You won't scratch the face of it too badly, it's alright. I'm going to take up watch repairs, you know, because I reckon it'd be easier. I really do. So I'm going to clamp it quite firm and get a good file. Get rid of the lumpy bits first. Just check your work. And if you'll notice, it's not quite gone yet. I think that's just about got that one. So that face is now void of the backing part, if you like. You also need to do the ends as well. Get rid of the backing of the ends as well. If you don't do this what I'm going to do won't work. Getting my glasses again. Let's get that end in. Same again on the end. Oops. What I'll do, I'll just stop the video at this point and finish this bit off. You get the idea, so it doesn't go on too long. I'll be back when I've filed up it all the way around, okay? Right, back again. Right, now we've got this. As you can see, it's now thinner, a little bit shorter, with no step in the material at all. It's just a flat piece of metal now. So what we need to do now is, I mean, at that stage now, you could paint this thing black. Sometimes these are, the modern ones are actually silver, they're just polished, and that might look quite cool actually if you just polished, kind of painted it in somewhere it looked polished, and then just glue that on the top, which most people are quite happy with that. including myself. However, with this model, as I keep saying, I'm trying to super detail this one. So that's going to get recessed into that hole, into that head. Now you can do it one of two ways. You can nibble away and make a channel in there and then just sit it on top and then glue it in and then blah blah blah, which is what I did with this one. But I'm wondering if it might be better to obviously make a line around it and then just drill right through the whole thing and make a channel instead. And then you can just fit that in the channel if you like. And then you can put a backing piece in from this side. I glued it in from that side actually anyway. I thinned it down, made the channel, put it in there, drilled some holes and put the glue in from the back. I didn't want to put the glue in from the front because if you get any glue in those recessed lettering, it's ruined. You can't put any paint in it. So it's very important that you don't block that up in any way with anything. So what I'm going to do to start with, I'll just show. I'm going to start off doing it the way I did the other one. So as you can see, you need a pretty sharp blade for this. Not convinced that's sharp enough. Yeah, it is. Obviously, be careful. So we're going to start off on that bottom face. Don't go too near this end where all the nuts and bolts are. So we're going to try and keep within that line if possible. So you can just use the moulding on the kit if you can as a starting point. It's not critical in this because we're going to make it bigger anyway. Any holes, any gaps, whatever, you can fill them. I made the right pigs of that already, and let's try again because it wandered off the plastic. That's better. So we'll just steady away, no rush. You need to make like a frame around it, a cut of frame around it. I think I'm crazy doing this, don't you? So there's one there. We need to know how wide it needs to be. That's the bottom of it. So it's safe to say we need to make a slot in the top part, in one end of it. So again, the same thing. So yeah, got a slot there. I'm not quite sure the emblem on the actual kit one's long enough to accommodate it when I did it. So that's there. I might abandon the screwing there, putting drilling holes in it because this did work quite well, to be fair. Right, so that's alright at that end. Just need to make a little mark where I'm cutting to. So it's a little bit further than the original casting, moulding on the kit. So again, it doesn't really matter if. Just be careful doing this though, because obviously you can slip off it quite easily and cause yourself some damage. And doing it with a handled knife would be very difficult because I wouldn't be able to do this. Right, that's that one. So now we've got the top one to make. At this point I could put some music on the channel, couldn't I? Be really entertained, but never gonna happen. I'm just gonna make a mark. Sort of a modelling joke the other day. It might not be funny, I don't know. I thought it was a little bit. How many models does it take to change a light bulb? Answer: the light bulb would never get changed because they would never agree on what colour the light bulb should be, or if the original light bulb was the correct one, or if the replacement's the correct one and the right shape. There you go, I'll get my cut. Right, so that's kind of roughly where we need to cut. Might not be perfectly accurate, doesn't matter. It needs to be reasonably accurate, but not bang on. So, again, steady away. Try not to slip and put a big massive gouge down it. Again, not irreparable, but just making yourself more work, aren't you? So we've now got a cut box around there. Now what you could do, you could decide, oh, well, where's the middle? The middle's about there, isn't it? I've got a channel there. A channel there. And that. And you could drill that out. And make, you know, a series of holes and then get in there with a knife and make a complete slot. And fit that in and then think it back. But I'm not going to do that now, I decided it's a bad idea. I'm doing it like this because I know it works. So there we go. What you need to do now is really carefully go into it. Now it doesn't matter if you go too deep. Well, I'll explain why in a bit. Don't go mad, but just pick at it. It'll break off, all the little pieces will come off. Again, you need to just take your time. There's no rush. It's a bit like fitting a lock in a door if you've ever done that. Or a hinge on a door. I'll do the same on this side. So it's quite important to get a decent groove in this thing in the first place. Oops, there's a slip there. Again, we can get around that. Plastic modellings are kind of a unique, well not unique, it's a limitation, isn't it, because you can only do so much with plastic. You can even start making, it's only one part of modelling. Modelling is a huge genre to it. I mean, a friend of mine used to make models, but he'd make them out of metal, and he'd make like he made a Gatling gun once out of brass and things, and it was amazing. You could turn the little handle and the barrels turned, and it was gorgeous. But he made it with he was an engineer, and he had all the equipment to do it. He had a little miniature lathe, and it's different. And plastic modelling is something you can do, but it has its limitations because you can only make something so thin with plastic before its integrity fails, if you like, and it falls apart. You can very rarely get a sharp edge with it because it's plastic, and you just can't. So there's only so much you can do with plastic until you add other materials into that to enhance it. Hence what this is metal, isn't it? You know, you're adding bits of metal in there. If you want to start introducing metal into this and making parts, wow, it can get intense. There's a guy, I'm going to put a video, not a video, I'm going to put a link to his channel, not a channel, he's got a website. I've forgotten the guy's name now. He makes models of aircraft like this, but he makes them at 5th scale. So they're quite big, they're about 6 foot long, a bit like a flying one would be. But they're not, they're just museum standard replicas of aircraft. He's done a Mustang, I think he's done a Mark 9 Spitfire, and he's done a Mark 1 as well. And they're basically made out of wood, to be fair, as a core, but he skins them all in aluminium, just like the real thing. And honestly, I'll put a link on it, and it makes this stuff look really, really amateurish, really. It's not, but it's on a different scale, because it's a bit like, the bigger you make something, the easier it is to make it, because when you're fiddling around with this stuff this small, it makes it much harder to do, I think. But yeah, the models are fantastic. I'll put a link on, and it's a good thing to look at, because if you want reference pictures of a Spitfire, it's a good place to go, because his models are that good. They look real. They really do. I mean, they're fantastic. So I'm getting there with this. I don't know if I should film all of this process. I'll just show you some of it, but I'll do a little bit more. Let's see if I can just give you the idea as to what we're doing. So basically, you're just scratching away. It takes a lot of doing, I've got to say that. I guess this is all proportional to how much you think it's worth doing it, and if you've got the patience to do it, really. As I've said before, I've got no end game on this one. It'll just take as long as it takes. And the rate I'm going, this is the wrong shape anyway, so they reckon that this is too tapered. So if you look at this one, with it being black you can't tell so much really, but I've rubbed it down on those edges a bit, just to kind of blend it in. So don't get too worried about the shape of it. From what I can gather, a lot of the aeroplanes, when we made them, when I say we, in the UK, our British made them, a lot of the parts were made by hand, or not necessarily by hand, but they were made as one-off items. They weren't necessarily made in a production run like they were in America. So the Ellison engine, which is the Packard Merlin, it was allegedly better than the English ones because it was more consistent. So it was manufactured en masse by machine, whereas in this country it could be, they could vary from engine to engine quite a bit. So I don't know. Again, don't quote me on that. But this is one thing I've found when you're building model kits. What you can do, when you do them, you learn a lot about the actual aeroplane, and you learn about all its little quirks and idiosyncrasies, which I think adds another dimension to the hobby. It's like a history lesson, and you find out about the machine and the fascination of how they make it, and its limitations and its strengths and weaknesses and stuff. Which I love all that stuff. Because to do detail on this level, you've got to research it, and we're so privileged now to be able to go on the internet and just look it up. Can you imagine doing this back in the 80s or when I was a kid? You couldn't do it. You'd have to go and try and get a book from the library or something, which would be rubbish really. You wouldn't get there. I suppose going to a museum would be the best thing you could do, and looking at a real one, but again you'd still be limited. Okay, I'm back. I've basically got that deep enough now. Let's try and get the camera here. So what I'm going to do now is just drop a little bit of extra thin cement in that gap there. I call this liquid sandpaper. It's good for smoothing things out. That's when you've been hacking away at stuff. It takes away all the fuzzy buzzies, all the fluffy bits and stuff. Obviously I'm not gluing this in, but it wouldn't work, would it? But it's a good way of kind of bedding it into the slot, if you like. So that's good enough for me. Is that this should be raised a little bit when you imagine the casting's all curvy and that stuff. If you look at the real ones, this back plate, if you like, where the whole thing's cast, the whole thing's a little bit off the face of this, which is fine. So I'm happy with that. That's good. Now, as I was saying, I don't want to glue that in. The only thing that will glue that in there, you can't use liquid cement. Obviously, it won't bond it. I could use epoxy, I suppose, but I don't want to. And you could super glue it in. So what I'm going to do is the way I want to super glue it in. Can you see it's just about? Maybe it picks it up on camera or not. It's just about starting to show through. It's gone white on the back of it, so it's getting pretty thin now. Is that plastic? So I'll just pick that out there. I know it might look like it's stuck in there, but it's not stuck in well enough to be able to do anything with it. Ooh, nearly went to the carpet monster. Right, so what I'm going to do is better get glue in to there without doing it from the front. So what I want to do with that, any old drill will do it really. So I'll get your drill. An appropriate size, probably that one. These drill bits are a bit weird. I tend to chew this off into a hole, not drill it, but they're alright. So we just need to put a few holes through there. I'll put them through my finger at the same time. Preferably in the middle, but what's it there? Ow! Did get my finger that time. It's very thin there. So now we've got some holes in the back. Let's trim that off. Yeah, so that's holes where the glue can go through. So oops, dropped it again. It's very small as this thing. You're gonna have to be, you're gonna have some fun and games with this thing. So get the thing where you need it to be. It needs to be a good fit this so it doesn't flop about and fall out really. It's better if it fits well. So yeah, I hope you can see that on camera. Yeah, I think you can. So it's kind of important to get this bit bang on before you start committing anything to glue. So I don't mind it being a bit brown at the bottom, to be fair, because as I say, the whole thing does stick off the face anyway. So I think that's probably good enough. So now we need to put a little bit of glue in the back there. Now, here we go. Super glue from hell. This is so runny, it's unbelievable. It's crazy. I'll try it, but as soon as I take the top off it, it'll be all over the place. So you can be really careful with this stuff. Just tiny bit in there. There we go. I reckon that'll do it. What I want to do is to encourage that a little bit. What's matter there now? Don't ever use that on clear parts, it'll dissolve. it'll go whiter than a white thing and look horrendous. So yeah, that's glued in now. That activated bit, the super glue dry instantly. So now what you can do, this metal face is quite durable, it's not too bad. Bear in mind when you get them, they're not red, they're just plain. So and it won't be red when I finish with it in a minute, I'm going to paint over it. So all we're doing now is just bedding the edges in. This is a bit rough, a bit too flat now. I'll try the other stuff. Just give it a tickle. And you can see that it's now a little bit raised off the face of the surface, which is not bad. I think I got this one. That one's more. That one's less raised, but it's not bad. You can't always tell till. Excuse the blood on my finger. You can't always tell until you paint it. There's no one else you're going to prime that. You just fill all the Rolls Royce stickers in with it. To be fair, I've got this one to fit better than that one. I had to fill that one a bit. What you don't want is a big massive gap around the edge of the actual placardy bit, if you like. So when you paint it, what you need to do then is fill the letters with paint, with red paint, and then wipe the red paint off. So if you've got all gaps around that edge, the red paint will get into those gaps as well. So it makes your life harder. So again, make it fit as best you can really. Not convinced that's completely raised. It might be a bit too raised off. I'm picking at straws here, not really. I think that'll look alright. It'll probably look better or more authentic than that one does. In fact, what I'm going to do, I'm going to hit it with this heavier stuff. That will take a bit of the metal off. It's also going to take the bolt heads off the side of that engine casing off here. I'm not too fussed about that because I've got a plan for those. A cunning plan, both it. So yeah, that's just taking it off. And what I could do is, I'm still concerned when I put red paint in that that's going to get in that gap, and I don't want it in there because it's difficult to get out again. I'm going to fill that. Hey Richard, what are you going to fill it with? Ah, there you go, right. I'm going to use this stuff, which is UV resin, and I've done a video on this, go watch it. I love this stuff, it's fantastic. Little bits of it. And it is an important thing, this, because if you don't want any paint in that edge there, you nearly got it in that arm up. Video there, so what we're doing is just introducing little bits into those gaps. I don't know what other filler you could use to do this. But this is ideal. It's quite a fluid stuff, it's a bit like, I don't know, treacly. Can't see it. I've just got visitors to. I'm just going to put some on that edge there. I think I might have to end the video at this point, but you get the idea. So, I'll wipe the excess of it off. And the same there. And the same there. Right. Need my UV torch, which I've now lost. Where have I put it? Oh, crikey. Right. Hold on a minute. I'll leave the video there and I'll come back and I'll show you how to cure this back shortly. Hi, back again. Sorry about that, we had visitors, so you can't film when people arriving at your house, I guess. Right, so we've got to the stage now where we were using the UV resin, which is here, and we're making sure that this edge here and these two ends here and that one, I've still got some resin and that's starting to go off there, but this is okay. So we're just making sure that this edge here, you probably can't see it on camera. I do apologise, I checked the footage of some of it before and it had me big fat head in it as well, and I've moved the camera since, so we should be okay now. So I've done most of this. You just need to wipe the excess off. So it's tiny amounts. UV torch. Just hit that. About 30 seconds tops. That'll be it, that'll be cured. That's enough. And now we've done that, final bit of a tickle with the old sandpaper. Dipped in a bit of water to make the sandpaper cut better. So I think that's in focus. I've got a bit of focusing issues as well. It's getting used to where the camera works best. So I think that's. I'll just have to be very careful when I put the paint on. So now we've got a situation where we want to get it looking like that. So I'll paint this. Basically that's done with semi-gloss lacquer based Tamiya paint. No priming, don't do priming on this, no need to do it. So I'll go away and paint it, and I'll be back when I've done that part. See you soon. I'm back again. Okay, I give it a coat of black paint, and after I'd done it I realised that you could see it, I've nicked it with a blade and I've scratched it. See there's a little dent, little mark there. So basically I want to get rid of that little scratch because there's no point. You can't do anything about it, so I'll have to sand that out. This isn't actually finished either because I normally put this on when I built this engine before. I'd glue this to the engine just as a basic part, you know, and then finish it and paint the whole thing black at the same time. But because I'm doing this, I can't do that. But I need to consider that there are parts that attach to the back of these. There's bits that need gluing on, and because I'm detailing it as well, I might have to add things and drill holes in it and things like that. But I'm painting it anyway just to make sure it looks okay. But I'm not averse to just taking the paint off and starting again, it doesn't bother me really. So because I don't want to fill these up too much with paint, I'm going to remove the black paint. Now this is just because I've painted it with lacquer paint, I'm going to use lacquer thinner to remove it because it just gets it off like you won't believe. It's amazing. So I just I don't have to get all of it off, I just want to get it out of the Rolls Royce bits so that it leaves plenty of enough of the channel left in there to put painting into it so that it'll show. It's taking the red paint out as well, which isn't a bad thing. Just give that a do there. There's a bit of red paint behind actually, I don't think that's going to go. I think I've got a scratch out there. So, a bit stop start as this video. I do apologise for my head being in the last one and the focus being off. I'm still getting used to this camera business. I've moved the camera since and I'm trying to keep my head out of it. I've changed the focal length and stuff, so should be alright now. So there we go. Back to where we started really, so I'll clean it up again and I'll paint it again and I'll be back shortly. Hi, welcome back. It's been a few days to be fair since I've done anything to this one, but here we are with the rocker box cover painted. As you can see, it's just black. It's a little bit different. This one's a bit different to how I did this one. It's not an exact science, is it, this game? That's more recessed than this one. I can't do anything about that now. Well, I could, but I'm not going to. So, I'm sure you've done this before and I'll just do it anyway. I'll show you how to do the painting part of it. And I'll pretty much conclude the video at that point. But I think this one is more authentic than that one, to be fair. Because as much as I think either of them are okay. I mean, I'm splitting hairs here. But that's a little bit more raised off the surface than that one is. I don't know if it really matters, but anyway, so what we do now, we need to get red paint into just the Rolls Royce part. Clearly you can't just paint that in with a brush because it's near impossible. So you just basically put the paint in there and it has to be an oil based paint so that you can remove it without damaging the paint underneath. So I just use cheap, this is Revel rubbish stuff. So it's dead easy. Well, it isn't actually. It's not easy. It's quite intricate work. But it's routine. It's something that just about most modelers can do, I think. So you could use a toothpick. Actually, might give it a go. Let me find my glasses. So, that time of these just been. We haven't got back there. So, we'll try to toothpick. No, I'm not going to use a toothpick. That will not work. Let's find a decent brush. Where have they gone? Right. Small paintbrush. Small paintbrush. I had to put a little bit on there actually. I like paint to be quite thin these days. So we just keep it well away from those edges. If you can. It doesn't matter if you have to go over it more than once. If you do the paint thin enough, it kind of flooded into that R. I hope you can see that. I think you can actually. Do the same with all of them. That's flooded into that up. Done the other though. A bit much on that. Yep, a bit much there, I see. It's done, yes. I think there's a dash in there between Rolls and Royce. I don't know if that's right or not. Probably a bit much on there though. That's not too bad, as long as I keep away from those edges. So yeah, we're just filling those, just lettering with those. Now on the real, when you see these done, the red's not, even on the modern ones obviously, they don't necessarily have this red really gaudy in that, it's just a subtle hint of colour. Which I think looks a little bit more scaly. You get too gaudy with colours and stuff, it doesn't look real. And what you could do there, perhaps, is pull some of that off. A little bit of this. Might not be able to get away with it. No, it's not going to work that. Anyway, so what I'm going to do now, I need to leave that to dry. If you try and get that off now, if it was a complete, if that was a manufactured part, not the way I've done it, I don't want, as I've said many times and repeating myself, I know I do this, I don't want to get paint in that groove around the edge, because you can't get it out. It's with there as part of the badge and I don't want to do that. I did that a little bit with this one. That one's got bits of red paint in it. I know it's very subtle, but it's there and I don't like it. This is going to get repainted, bear in mind. And so is this. So let that dry, and then what we'll do is just get rid of the excess. And it's quite thin now, with a bit of the cotton bud and some terps on it. So when that's dry, I'll come back on video and I'll show you how to do that part. So we'll be on. Okay, we're back. To be fair, it's not too bad without removing the paint, but yes, we'll have to do that. So, I'm sure most people have done this already, but just to kind of show you the complete process. Just a little bit of terps. Don't go mad on the terps, so I don't want to remove any of the paint inside the Rolls Royce badge part of it. So, get a tissue. You can use big cotton bud or a little one. I would say I'm going to go for a clean one of those. I'm going to find it. It won't be clean for very long. But anyway, give it a dunk in there, but don't kind of dry it off a bit. Don't saturate this at all. And in my case, get your glasses. Right, okay, so we're just tickling it to get the top bit off. Again, we want to try and keep away from that edge. I'm going to put some pictures up at the end of this one, if I can, and the one I've already done. And the one I've already done, if you look at it, it has got some red paint kind of in the bottom of the bolt bit there and around the edges. And this is why I'm trying to stress to keep away from those edges, because it's quite difficult. I can't get it out now without well, that repainting it, which I'm going to do as I've said. So all this work here is for nothing because it's going to get done again, but it doesn't matter. So it won't be done perfectly again because, as I say, there's no need, but do what we can. Right, oh, that's quite good actually. Can you see it on? So I think the result on this wood, again it's because I've done it more than once now. I've taken a, can you see on the R there? Hope you can, I don't know. On the R there, I've got a bit giddy with this and it's taken the, I don't know why, but it's taken the paint off the black paint off as well. Which I find surprising really, because that's lack of paint. So you've got to be careful, haven't you? You've got to be careful. It doesn't matter than that. In fact, I reckon, if necessary, if I were going to keep this, I would just touch that in with a bit of black paint and it'd be fine. So I'm just going to do a bit more. Like that. So, okay. And just give it a dab. So that is done. Now I like that one better. I don't know what I've done with the other one. It's somewhere, right there, isn't it? I think that one's better than this one, and that's because that badge is raised up more than that one. So I don't know. It's build it to taste, I guess. Just do what you think's appropriate. What I would do with that now, if it was a completely finished item, I'd lacquer it again now. I'd blast it over with semi-matte again, semi-gloss. And there you go. And you can polish that up then. If you give that 2 or 3 coats of varnish, it sounds a lot, but thin varnish coats. If you look at this, that's semi-gloss. And it's almost gloss as that, because I polished it up. I often do that now. Instead of, it kind of takes off all the lumpy bumpy bits when you spray. I learnt this from doing model cars to start with. When I got back into this hobby, I started doing model cars. And if you've ever done model cars, motorbikes, they're always immaculate. You don't build them, well, sometimes you can build them weathered and stuff, but you don't build them as a weathered object. They're built as a showroom condition machine, if you like. So you're on a back foot when you start out with it, because you've got there's no forgiveness building a clean object, a clean, perfect item. Because you can't get away with anything, and that's why when I build model aircraft now, I don't like to weather them, because I like to build a replica of that object as it would be out of a factory and whatever. And it's hard. It's not easy to do things perfect, because you can't get away with anything at all. If that was a wartime engine in a Spitfire, you could cover that in all sorts of rubbish, and it'd just cover every multitude of sin, and it wouldn't matter. But you can't do it when you're building factory or museum standard. I just think it adds another. From my perspective, I prefer to do this. It's more challenging, and I like the look of it better as well. Anyway, I digress. So the video ends there. I'll put some stills up. It's going to look rubbish as that now because of that bit in the middle. I'm being picky, Perfection is the, what is it that's there? Perfection is the enemy of progress. Yeah, I suppose it is. But yeah, I've already done some pictures of the other one. I've also included, I'll include some pictures of the actual item before it goes on to here, and the original Spitfire part, this one, and the model I built before without them having this process done, so you can compare, and you can decide for yourself if you think it's worth the effort. I personally think it is. I would never stick them on again. I'd always do it like this. You can get these in 30-second scale. I can't imagine doing that in 30 seconds. I just don't know. I don't know what size they'd be. They'd be smaller than that considerably, I should think. I think it stops at that scale. I don't think you can go any lower than that. And to be fair, you'd never pay to see them anyway. But I like them. I think they're great products. They're a classic example of how PE has changed the world for model making. So yeah, hope you enjoyed that, and I'll catch you in a bit.